college football national championship has finally arrived. Side, totals, and props coming your way, as well as Trevor Matich set to join the show. NFL playoff lines for the wild card round are set. His Rams are in. My Eagles are in. We'll talk to Mike Tannenbaum, who is on fire with his picks in just a few moments. Alongside Tyler Fulghum, I'm Joe. You know what? I can't do it. This is supposed to be my off day. This is my sangria by the pool day. I was dragged in here to co-host this show. You drive. You do the heavy lifting today. I'm sitting back. I'm relaxing.
You know
I'm
what?
not even going to use my notes.
All right, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. We did pull you in on a Monday off.
It's ridiculous.
It is good to have you in the big studio on a Monday. But it is a special Monday, as you mentioned, with the college football playoff here. And you, my friend, have missed out on a lot of Mike T on Monday. We call him the Monday Night Messiah because he absolutely slayed when it comes to Monday night sides. But if you had forgotten on Monday's bet, Joe Fortenbaugh, we like to start with reaction or no action. So let's dive right in. You remember how to play the game, at least I hope.
And
reaction or no action.
I'm going to need my notes.
Go ahead and pick them up.
Go ahead and pick them up.
You likely will
didn't work out very well there.
It's all right. You know, you made a choice, you went for it. That's what I like. That's what I like. Reaction or no action, We'll start with this. Georgia wins tonight's national title game by anywhere from 1 to 6 points. And if you would like to wager on that, you see on your screen, plus 350 odds. Reaction or no action to liking that bet?
I'm going to react.
Oh.
I am going to react to that bet as I adjust myself here in my seat. Plus 350 implies a 22% chance of happening. So if you believe there is a greater than 22% chance that this score happens, Georgia winning by between 1 and 6, you should make the bet because you see value there. I do see Georgia winning the game, and I do see this being a lower scoring game, not a Georgia blowout. So 1 to 6 is kind of in my wheelhouse. I went and did some research, despite the fact it's supposed to be my off day. I did some research on this very topic.
You overachiever.
Since 2010, Nick Saban has only lost 16 games. Since 2010. I didn't say since 2 years ago. That would be the Jets. Since 2010, you have a scenario where Nick Saban's only lost 16 games. 11 of those have come between 1 and 6 points.
Wow.
68% of his losses since 2010, between 1 and 6 points. I would take this wager tonight. That is a reaction.
I think you make compelling points with that research you did on your off day. Well done, Joe Fortenbaugh. But I am going to say no action here, simply because I don't think, unlike my compadre, that Georgia wins this football game. As you mentioned, your research determined that Nick Saban has lost, 16 games in how many years?
16.
16 games in the last, 8, 9, 10 seasons.
Since 2010, that's actually
so that's
more.
11 seasons. He's
Not
lost
teaching
16
math at
games.
the zoo.
No, that's not our specialty over there. We're a journalism school, communications. We're right-brain thinkers over there. But I think Alabama wins this game. Again, I will point out that Nick Saban, the last 3 times he has been a betting underdog, that dates back to 2009, by the way.
Oof.
He has won all 3 of those games outright by 19, 28, and 17 points. So I saw what happened in the SEC title game. I know the value you're getting on Georgia with the rematch just a month later. But Nick Saban and Bryce Young over Kirby Smart and Stetson Bennett, that's the way I look at this game. Therefore, I will not bet anything that has Georgia winning the ball game. All right, how about we move to the NFL?
All right, let's do it.
Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers backing on into the postseason. They will meet the Chiefs in the Super Wild Card round, a rematch of a game we did see this regular season at Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City won 36-10. Reaction or no action, Ben Roethlisberger will throw more times to the opposing team than he will to his own team in the end zone.
First of all, we got to bring an end to all of this. Enough with this. Ben Roethlisberger's last home game.
Yeah,
Ben Roethlisberger's last game. Ben Roethlisberger's last playoff game. Enough. Enough is enough. All right? I am going to say no action on this, believe it or not. Because as bad as Roethlisberger has been this season, the operative word here is more. More INTs than TDs, which means a tie does not go to the runner in this situation, all right? More. Ben Roethlisberger's thrown more INTs than TDs in just 2 of 17 games this season. 1 touchdown, 1 interception in that Week 16 matchup at Kansas City. I think he's in a good spot. He's going to need at least 1. I think he gets at least a garbage time, which means he'll need 2. Kansas City, middle of the pack in terms of interceptions this year.
I'm going to react here. I think Roethlisberger throws more INTs than TDs, and I think it's 2 INTs to 1 TD or 1 or more INTs to 0 TDs. Pittsburgh scored just 10 points when they played Kansas City in Arrowhead earlier. Now, Kansas City's defense, I think, was a little bit overrated this season. But at home at Arrowhead, one of the best home field advantages in the NFL, the last 6 times they played at home, they allowed an average of 10 points. And one of those opponents was this one that will be back, and they scored just 10 points. So with Melvin Ingram and Chris Jones putting pressure on Roethlisberger with his poor offensive line and his statuesque ability back there, I think he'll have a pass that strays wayward or gets batted into the air. The Chiefs will pick it off, and I don't think he's going to access Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool in the end zone in this game. So I will react and say yes, indeed more interceptions than TDs for Big Ben.
Mike Tomlin has him in the playoffs again. These guys were written off for dead like 2 months ago, and now they're in the playoffs.
Is Mike Tomlin?
Unbelievable.
How good is that Mike T? Maybe not as good as our Mike T here on Monday's edition of Bet, because we have to bring in the Monday Night Messiah, our guy Mike Tannenbaum, our GM here at ESPN, who Mike T has absolutely crushed it all year long, picking sides on Monday night. And to commemorate the job he did, Mike T, did you get anything in the mail today from your friends over here in Las Vegas?
Absolutely. Look at that. Look at that cake.
It's beautiful.
You know, this certainly, it's no avocado toast, but it's greatly appreciated. So it's great being on your show all year, and this will be eaten with pride by the people here at the Seaport. So we will indulge.
You don't know, Mike T. That could be an avocado cake. You haven't cut into it yet. So that could be an avocado cake in there. So we'll wait and see when you slice into that and share on Instagram and Twitter what you got there. But, Joe, in case you had missed it, here is what Mike T has done in Week 18 and then all season long on Bet's Monday night. He correctly picked yet again the side, Pittsburgh, in that matchup with Cleveland. Lost the Mayfield prop, did cash the Roethlisberger prop. You see at the bottom of the screen, though. That is what's most important there. Can you read that, Joe Fortenbaugh?
16-4 on Monday and Tuesday. And let me point something out for the people. That's not just an incredible winning percentage. He doesn't even have the luxury of picking his favorite from the entire board. He is assigned these games that a lot of us would pass on, and he still was picking at 80%. That's incredible.
So I can't wait to check out Mike T's new Hamptons home with all the winnings from Monday Night Football this summer. I will see you there, Mike T. But let's dive into Super Wild Card Weekend. And I do want to start with our team here in Las Vegas, the team down the street, and the Raiders that won that thrilling Sunday night game against the Chargers. By virtue of that Daniel Carlson kick, they get in, and they travel to Cincinnati to take on a Bengals team that rested players in Week 18, won the AFC North. We know how explosive they can be in Cincinnati. Raiders catching 6, total of 49.5, Mike T. How would you play this, given the fact the way that the Bengals have looked and the Raiders seemingly have 9 lives and have cashed out 8 of them?
Yeah, guys, that's a great recap. It was an epic game last night. Got to go with Cincinnati here. I like them to win decisively. I like the over. Vegas has to travel on a short week, and Cincinnati's explosive on offense. Little concerned about the weather, not knowing what the conditions are. But if I had to pick now, I'd say take the over. But I really like Cincinnati in this game. Tip of the cap to the Raiders, but short week, going on the road. I just don't see them going into Cincinnati and win the game. I like Cincinnati big in this game.
The Cowboys will host the 49ers. Dallas laying 3, total of 50.5. The Cowboys have struggled at times this season against the run. They rank 20th in run defense. What's the likelihood of an upset here?
None. And here's why. Dan Quinn knows Kyle Shanahan really well. They worked together in Atlanta. Dan Quinn's seen that offense for years and years and years. They will be prepared. They're the better team. Give San Francisco a lot of credit to beat the Rams the way they did. I like Dallas big in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I would take the over as well, but I don't think there's going to be an upset here. I like the Cowboys a lot in this game.
All right, Mike T, let's get to this matchup, which we've already seen twice because it is an AFC East rematch in the Super Wild Card round. Pats and Bills, third time in about 7 weeks. We know what happened during the regular season. There was that extreme weather environment game that the Patriots won in Buffalo. Then Buffalo returned serve by winning in Foxborough. This one has the Bills laying 4.5, a much lower total than the first couple of games we talked about at 43.5. Can New England and Bill Belichick, Mike T, go into Orchard Park twice this season and notch a win?
Absolutely. I like the Patriots winning this game. I like the under. And this was sort of, as Mike Greenberg would say, sneaky big news. Buffalo really has struggled stopping the run against New England, not once but twice, even the game they won in Foxborough. So I think New England goes up to Buffalo, runs the ball again, and I like the Patriots outright in this game.
Oh. Monday night on ESPN, it's the MegaCast game, rematch in the NFC West. The Rams are laying 4, total of 50 against division rival Arizona. Both teams stumbling a bit down the stretch. How would you play this one?
Yeah, that's right. I like Arizona. Just think they're a slightly better team. I think they're going to win the game outright. For whatever reason, they played better on the road than at home. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like the over. But I think the Arizona Cardinals go on the road and beat the Rams Monday night.
Hope you were listening, especially to that last one, because it falls on a Monday night. And Mike T on Monday night, 80%, 16-4, picking Monday. And there was a couple Tuesdays we had to get in there because of scheduling issues. But Mike T, the Monday Night Messiah, on bet all season long. Enjoy that cake, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I will be eating the cake here with everybody else. We appreciate it. And good luck this week with your bets.
Thank you. He indeed earned that reward for his efforts this season.
Is it actually an avocado cake?
No.
That'd be ridiculous.
It's not an avocado.
That would be absolutely ridiculous.
Don't know if
Nothing
it's
worse
chocolate,
than
vanilla, or
dessert that shows up with vegetable.
Is
avocado a vegetable or a fruit?
If we're giving to Tom Brady, is it okay to provide an avocado cake? He doesn't need more cakes.
Let me tell you something. No one needs to give that guy anything. He's got plenty. Get him out of here. He's going to roll through my Eagles this weekend. I don't even want to watch that game.
We'll get to your Eagles and Tom Brady's Bucs in just a second.
No, that's the end of the analysis.
All of these games that we're going to see on the Super Wild Card Weekend. We'll start with the game that Mike T did touch on there. Bengals and Raiders. Cincinnati hosting the Raiders, who got in somehow, some way, despite a, negative 65-point differential this
68.
season. Well, I mean, they won this game by 3, and it
you're counting
went
that.
down. Yeah, so negative doesn't matter. They were not really a 10-win team.
I retract my math comment from earlier.
There we go. Win one, lose one on the abacus. You're going to handle this one. You heard what Mike T had to say. Your thoughts on Natty versus Vegas?
I like it that we're starting with this because as of the current moment, this is my favorite of the wild card bets available. I'm going to play the over. It's now up to 49.5. It continues to tick up. I think we have an absolute shootout on our hands in this game. Cincinnati, congratulations. You're playing at home. You should be nice and rested. A lot of the key starters did not play against Cleveland on Sunday, so 2 weeks to prepare for a Raider defense that's been about average to slightly below average. I don't want to knock them too much. Gus Bradley's done a really nice job as a defensive coordinator, but Cincinnati's going to put up their points. The Raiders are the issue here. Where they put up theirs? And last night, after weeks of very much struggling on offense, Darren Waller coming back, that was a huge boost to the offense. You have Josh Jacobs coming back and providing a big shot in the arm to the running game. They're going to be able to put their points up. Remember, as much as we all like Cincinnati, we like them because of Joe Burrow and the offense. The defense has been average to below average throughout the course of the season. I like this one to go over 49.5. Just keep an eye on the weather reports. It's only Monday. You got to track that stuff.
I want to handle Pats and Bills, and this was a game that Mike T touched on, and I was kind of surprised to hear him say he thinks the Pats are going to go into Orchard Park a second time and notch a victory outright.
I was surprised as well.
He did mention as well, though, he expects it to be a low-scoring game. So I'm, I guess, half aligned, half not aligned with my official pick. I will play the Patriots team total under 19.5. Now, of course, the Pats can still win the game, scoring 19 or fewer points. Scoring more would obviously benefit that. But he did say he expects it to be a low-scoring game, and I kind of agree. Bill Belichick knows how he wants to defend this Buffalo offense. We know the Buffalo defense is one of the better in the NFL, and Mac Jones has started to kind of, I don't want to say regress, but hit a plateau as far as what he can access as from a ceiling perspective for this team's offense. Now, Mike T did make a good point about New England being able to run the ball on Buffalo, but I think Buffalo should most likely bring its best defensive effort against the run versus New England this season in this particular matchup. It's at home, you can feed off the crowd, it's a low expected total. They know how New England's going to attack them. You're not going to put the ball in the hands of Mac Jones and try and win. They know what Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are going to do. They're going to try and run the football at them and beat them that way. So you had 2 games of tape. It's the third time they've seen each other. I expect it to be a low-scoring game, regardless of who wins. New England under 19.5.
I stack the box and make Mac Jones beat you. He stinks on the road. He's captain check down. He was terrible against Miami yesterday. Absolutely terrible. Slight disagreement with Tannenbaum on that one, which is dangerous, but it's not a Monday game, so I guess I could be safe. I don't know.
We'll get to the Monday game in a second. Your Philadelphia Eagles, I assume this is going to be short and sweet.
It's going to be
taking
tight
on Tom Brady and the Bucs.
I'm going to keep it tight here. I don't want to watch this game. I don't want to be a part of this game. I was hoping this game would not be played. And by that, as an Eagle fan, I was rooting for them to not even make the playoffs. Give me a good draft pick. This is one of the few teams that has no chance of doing anything here. A lot of people will come at me. Jalen Hurts, he's so great. Philadelphia is so great. Philadelphia is so great. They beat one team this year with a winning record. That was the loser Saints, who didn't even make the playoffs. So you beat no playoff teams all year long. That's your resume. But hey, Jalen Hurts can run the ball. Oh! Shoot, Tampa's top 3 in run defense, which means Jalen Hurts can either throw the ball, and he's not very good at that. Tampa Bay at home, I looked this up today too, plus 129-point differential. They're outscoring the opposition at home by 14 points per game.
Seems decent.
I like the Bucs to roll. I hope the game is quick. I want this to be in and out and painless. I do not want to get caught up emotionally in this game, and I just want to move on with my life. Moving on to another game. Very important. This one's for you. This could be the best game of the weekend. Dallas Cowboys laying 3. Only 3 for the Dallas Cowboys. Total of 50.5 against the Niners.
I think this will be the best matchup we see in Super Wild Card Weekend. We have a team like San Francisco that's surging in and has a very specific style and game plan they bring to a matchup with the Dallas team that has all the high-end talent in the world, had the best point differential in the NFC, had the best ATS record in the entire NFL. But they were 6-0 against the awful NFC East and just 6-5 against every other team in the NFL. Did they fatten up on sweets in the NFC East?
Yes, they did.
I don't know. We heard Mike T said he thinks Dallas is the better team and they're going to win this one. I reluctantly disagree. I will take the points in my pocket with San Francisco. I would like to see it get that extra hook. 3.5 would make me feel a lot more comfortable. There is a great point made about Dan Quinn knowing Kyle Shanahan's system, and the Cowboys would seemingly have the weapons on defense, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs, to match up with the weapons that Kyle Shanahan brings. But I tell you what, Dallas' strength was not their run defense and controlling the line of scrimmage. That's not what they did well defensively. That's what San Francisco will do. We saw them do it twice to the Rams, who I think are built similarly to the Dallas Cowboys on both sides of the ball. Deebo Samuel, Eli Mitchell. Should they get Trent Williams back on the offensive line, that'll be a massive boost. I don't know what Jimmy Garoppolo will show up. The one in the first half against the Rams or the one in the second half against the Rams?
That guy is a human heart attack.
If they get the good Jimmy G, I think they can not only win this or cover this, but win this game outright. So I will take San Francisco. I just think they're surging at the right time. And Dallas, they're a team that didn't really beat anyone that great this season as far as postseason competition. So it's like a prove-it-to-me scenario for Dallas in a toss-up game. I'll start with 3 points on the board.
Two quick notes. As your boy, I agree with you. Wait until 3.5. I think the public money will come in on Dallas. And number 2, for as much as Quinn knows Shanahan knows Quinn
as well.
And Shanahan's the guy who's still a head coach.
All right, Steelers-Chiefs. This one may not be the best or most competitive game we see in Super Wildcard Weekend. Biggest favorite on the board is Kansas City at home. We've already seen them beat Pittsburgh 36-10 this year. What's your favorite play?
I think it's a similar result. You and I were aligned in the Daily Wager document this morning, 5:30 p.m. Eastern today for Daily Wager.
2:30 Pacific.
Interested.
Math
Boom.
checked out.
That's how you plug. I would play the under here at 46.5. I don't expect a whole lot out of Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger's yards per attempt, meaning his willingness to throw the ball down the field, second lowest of his career in 18 seasons was this year. He can't throw it deep. That's going to help the Kansas City defense just creep up, right? And the 1 year in which he had a lower yards per attempt, it was only 2 games. He got hurt. He threw 60 passes, so it was an extremely small sample size. Kansas City's defense hasn't been great the last couple weeks. They're not going to need to be here. Mahomes and the Chiefs do what they need to do. They get it done. It stays under 46.5. The first one a couple weeks ago should have stayed under, and that was a point and a half less on the closing total, and this went up. I'm shocked by that. I like the under here a lot. Rams, Cardinals, Monday Night Football. Rams laying, I believe, 4. Total in this game is going to be 50. How would you play it?
You heard what Mike T said. He's on the Arizona side. I hope he's wrong about that, but it is a Monday night game. I'll attack the total because I'm more comfortable there, and I do agree with Mike T that it'll go over 50. These two teams played twice this season. Game 1 featured 57 points. Game 2 featured 53 points. Two teams that engage and interact on the field by promoting play volume for each team. Cliff Kingsbury's offenses go fast. Sean McVay's offenses go fast. They have big play potential, and they will add play volume and opportunity to score. So I think over 50 is the right play here when these teams match up for the third time. It scares me that the Cardinals play so well on the road. But if you're a Cardinals fan, it scares me the way they finished the regular season on the road and at home. So This one is kind of a toss-up for me. I do think 4 is a little too much for LA to lay.
The DeAndre Hopkins factor is going to be huge. They said he'd be back for the playoffs, but we don't know when. That's going to be very big.
J.J. Watt could be back as well.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he'll make some
defense.
videos about saving people on the side of the road and the way to it. As if there's not. That guy, no one on earth has a camera crew around him more often than J.J. Watt, documenting every good Samaritan act. Although we love you, Watt. You're a good guy.
And he always talks about his little bro on Twitter, how much he deserves, Defensive Player of the Year. Although this year, he may be correct. All right, let's get away from the NFL and Wild Card Weekend. We have plenty of time to discuss that all week long as we lead up to Wild Card Weekend. But tonight, we have a score to settle. On the field, 1 versus 3, College Football National Championship title game, a rematch of the SEC title game. Why don't we welcome in someone who might know a little bit more about college football than the two of us put together? That is the big fella, Trevor Matich, joining us here on Bet. Trevor, we appreciate you taking the time on this Monday to help us break down how we went to attack Monday night's rematch. Alabama, remember when they beat Georgia a couple weeks ago? They had John Mechie in the lineup. That will not be the case for this game. The wide receiver is out. He accounted for 97 yards and a score in that SEC championship game. How do you see Alabama making up offensively for the loss of Mechie and the skills he brings to the offense?
Well, a lot of people, Tyler, are saying that they'll have to get more touches for other receivers, to the tight ends and to the running backs, some of the young freshmen and sophomores, and that's true. But I don't see Alabama going away from Jamison Williams just because Georgia is going to focus on Jamison Williams as one of the best receivers in the country, averaging 20 yards per catch. Georgia will try to bracket him. They'll double team him. They'll run all kinds of different styles of coverages at him. And that will be something that will be countered by offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. O'Brien, in addition to a college background, has an NFL background. And in the NFL, everything on offense is about matchups. It's about getting this guy on that defender. And they do it with personnel groups, formations, motions, shifts. And so Georgia might think that Jamison Williams is going to line up where they can stack everything against him, but O'Brien will move him around. O'Brien will put him in bunch formations. O'Brien will shift him and motion him and do all kinds of things, so it's very difficult for Georgia to do those things without having to flop their entire secondary and hope the snap doesn't happen while they're mid-flop. So I do think that Jamison Williams is going to have a big game here, and I think that Bill O'Brien will show some masterful game planning in order to spring him.
Georgia scored just 24 points in the SEC championship game against Alabama. That was their second lowest offensive output of the entire season outside of week 1 against the Clemson Tigers. What adjustments do you see offensive coordinator Todd Monken making for tonight's showdown?
So there's two things. One is they need to throw the ball more to the backup tight ends. Everybody talks about starter Brock Bowers, who is the most amazing weapon at tight end in all of college football, maybe a weapon at all. He's got the size of a tight end, the moves of a running back, and the speed of a wide receiver. And so everybody gangs up on him. But the next two guys are also receiving threats. John Fitzpatrick is 6'7", 250. Darnell Washington is 6'7", 265. Both of them have wide receiver skills. As a matter of fact, Washington worked a lot in the spring at wide receiver because he was so good out in space. Well, each of those guys had one catch in the SEC championship game, just one. And I see Georgia adjusting in this one by getting those guys a lot more touches in the passing game. They're both very good blockers. But I think they'll have a lot more balls thrown to them in this game because Alabama, with their depth issues in the secondary at corner, they've got two corners that are either out or gimpy. I think they're running out of people to cover 6'7", 250-plus pound tight ends. And I think Georgia will do that as one of the main adjustments in this game.
Yeah, Trevor, that's Georgia's offensive side. Their defense, which has been their strength all season, certainly had their worst performance of the year in that SEC title game. They allowed 41 points, and Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, went off for 421 passing yards and 3 scores. So what do you think that group, that unit, Kirby Smart, learned by watching that film, and how will they adjust in this matchup?
Tyler, did you ever just sit in a chair and hit yourself in the head with a hammer for a while?
You would think, based on some of the things I've said on the show, yeah.
Yeah,
listen, I'm with you.
Yes.
That's what Georgia's defense did in the SEC championship game. They had so many uncharacteristic mental errors. They busted coverages. They busted contain. The quarterback for Alabama, Bryce Young, had a 20-yard touchdown run because he dropped back in the pocket. Georgia ran a big stunt. Nobody went out to the left to contain, so he just went, okay, fine. And he ran untouched 20 yards into the end zone. I don't see Georgia repeating those kinds of mistakes in this game. And then another thing is that Alabama's offense was inside Georgia's defense's head the whole game. It seemed like whenever Georgia came with a stunt or a blitz, Alabama's protection happened to be in the right call for that. whenever they were in certain coverage, Alabama happened to be in the right call for that coverage. And I think Georgia's brain trust on defense is going to have to make it more difficult for Alabama to anticipate what their defensive play call and assignments will be.
All right, we're calling this Matich's moment of truth.
Ooh.
Who wins? What's the final score, Trevor?
You know, I had you with Matich and moment. Truth, that might be a bit of a stretch. I went back and forth on this one. This was tough for me. I started leaning Alabama, then I watched the SEC Championship game again. And now I'm saying Georgia wins 31-27. And I think the reason is that they won't make those big mistakes again. Not to take anything away from Alabama's victory in the SEC Championship game, but Georgia really helped them out. And these aren't a matter of things that you just got beat because the other side's better than you. These are things that they just messed up in a very uncharacteristic way. I think Georgia cleans it up. I think it's a completely different ball game. I think the matchups favor Georgia in this game. And I think that the better matchups on the Georgia side will defeat the better head coach and quarterback on the Alabama side.
That is Matich's moment. We'll see if it is truth when these teams kick off tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN. The SEC title game rematch is the college football title game. Trevor, we appreciate you joining us here on Bet. First time I think we've had you on the Monday show. Great knowledge and enjoy tonight's game.
Appreciate that. And Tyler, if you need to borrow a hammer, I have a couple.
Yes, indeed. Some of the things I've said, you'd wonder if I've hit my head many times. I know I was dropped as a child. I can't confirm that. My sister, Carrie. Sorry, Carrie, don't put you on blast like that, but you know it's true. All right, just to recap, since we've talked about this game all week long, you like the total, I like a side. Remind the people, the viewers, what you think as far as that total is concerned, 52.5.
Very much like under 52.5. I agree with Trevor that it's going to be a very different game this time around. I don't agree, however, that there will be 57 points on the board. I think there will be less. From a side perspective, if it's less than 3, I am on the Georgia Bulldogs tonight.
I am on the side with my conviction more so than the total. Alabama's an underdog. Alabama's my pick. Nick Saban, Bryce Young, superior to Kirby Smart and Stetson Bennett. I'm just going to ride that. The yummy rat poison that Nick Saban gets to feed.
Ah, yes.
If Bama was favored in this game, of course, I would take Georgia, but I like Bama and Saban being able to legitimately sell to all those 4- and 5-star athletes. No one thinks we're going to win. No one thinks we're going to win this game, and I like when Saban has that type of motivation.
Except for the guy who hit himself in the head with a hammer. He likes us.
I'm the only idiot. That Fulghum character on ESPN. All right,
here we go.
Let's drop some props then, since we haven't delved into this market. I think this is a player that we're both on. James Cook. Do you have a James Cook prop?
James Cook, I do. First touchdown at 10-1. I want to get involved with that as I do in all championship games. I like to have fun with that one. Cook is Georgia's second leading rusher and fourth leading receiver. He touched the ball 14 times in the SEC Championship game. That was the most of any Georgia player. Saban versus Kirby Smart. It's happened 4 times. Georgia has scored the forced TD in 3 of those 4 games. Bryce Young over 11.5 rushing yards. That is my favorite prop of the night. It's my favorite bet of tonight's game. Now remember, this is college football. Sacks count against your rushing yards, not your passing yards like in the NFL. But I still like Young to go over. This is a cheap price. He only ran for 43 total yards the whole season. 43. But against Georgia, he ran for 40. He's going to need to use his legs tonight, especially with no John Mechie at wide receiver. And then Brian Robinson Jr., this price is inflated. Robinson had a huge game against Cincinnati. He rushed for over 200 yards, and as a result, the prop is up, 68.5. But he rushed for just 55 yards on 16 carries in the SEC Championship game. That's only 3.4 yards per carry. That was a season low. Georgia's number 3 in rush defense. Robinson goes under. Bryce Young goes over. Cook scores the first TD. What do you got for us?
I have a James Cook prop as well, and maybe we can have this all happen on one play. Cook catches a 24-yard touchdown pass to open the scoring. I do think there's going to be a negative game script for Georgia. I do think Cook is a weapon out of the backfield that they can use. Stetson Bennett is not a guy who pushes the ball vertically down the field. He's a lower A-dot passer, and that's where Cook can thrive. Trey Sanders, who's the number 2 running back, over 20.5 rush yards. I do think, contrary to popular belief, I think Alabama's going to try and run at this Georgia defense. And I think guys like Robinson and Sanders are going to get a few more opportunities and carries than you might believe. That's why I'm under on Jamison Williams, because I think the Georgia defense, and Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien knows this, we're focusing on Jamison Williams. If we take that away, Georgia's thinking we win this game. I do think there'll be some counters in the run game for Alabama and Bryce Young with his legs as well. But Williams, that's just a high prop. 110.5 with all the attention he's going to see. Not to say that Trevor's not right and they can't scheme him open. That's just a high number. I'm going to come under that. He did not eclipse this in the first matchup with these two teams. So that's the way I'm looking at the prop market with these three plays, Cook, Sanders, and Jamison Williams.
This is going to be an awesome game. I cannot wait for this game. And I love the fact that it's not waiting like in the old school version where we'd have to wait a whole month to get the game. You get a playoff, you get 2 great games, then you get a little over a week, and we're back in action.
Yeah,
Very exciting.
Hard to think this ends in a blowout, but will be fun.
No.
Can't wait to watch. Appreciate you coming on your off day, brother.
Outside of Mike Greenberg, Stephen A. Smith, Scott Van Pelt, and a host of others, you're my favorite, my absolute favorite.